gonna break David Morrell's face. Like I said it over and over again, but every time I say that, it's just like how I say it, the fight plays out. This is the best camp of my career. I'm hungry, I'm strong, and I can't wait to get the fans a good show. I guarantee you guys, the guys that stay up, it's gonna be well worth it. Yeah.
David Benavidez stepped up to the microphone with a promise that shook the boxing world. I'm going to break his face. This wasn't just another pre-fight soundbite. It was a bold promise from a man who turns predictions into prophecies. But here's what everyone wanted to know. Did he actually do it? The build-up was electric. Two undefeated warriors, each claiming the other's throne. While some saw Morrell's technical brilliance as Benavidez's kryptonite, others believed Benavidez's raw power would end the debate early. When Benavidez made his declaration, the boxing world erupted. What some called confidence, others labeled disrespectful trash talk. Morrell's response? Ice-cold defiance. With everything at stake, there was no turning back. What followed was exactly what the sport needed: drama, action, and a result that left the boxing world talking. Buckle up, because this isn't just a fight breakdown. This is the story of when two titans collided, and only one remained standing. In one corner stands David Benavidez, 6 feet 2 inches of pure destruction. They call him the Mexican Monster for a reason, and it's not just because Mike Tyson said so. With 27 wins, 0 losses, and 23 victims who never saw the final bell, Benavidez isn't just winning fights, he's ending careers. His style: imagine a hurricane of punches that never stops coming. While others throw single shots, hoping for highlight reels, Benavidez unleashes combinations that break both body and spirit. Ask Caleb Plant. Ask David Lemieux. They'll tell you about the suffocating pressure, the relentless assault that gives you nowhere to hide. Across the ring, David Morrell Jr. paints a different picture. A Cuban master who turned the ring into his canvas, making opponents miss by millimeters while punishing every mistake. Don't let his shorter record fool you. 10 wins, 1 loss. With 9 knockouts that prove technical brilliance can hit just as hard as brute force. His rise to the WBA regular super middleweight championship wasn't just quick. It was inevitable. Where Benavidez brings chaos, Morrell brings calculation. Every jab, every step, every counter tells a story of countless hours in Cuba's legendary boxing gyms. This wasn't just another fight. For Benavidez, Morrell was the final obstacle between him and a dream showdown with Canelo Alvarez. For Morrell, this was his moment to prove that technique trumps terror, that skill conquers strength. Two undefeated warriors, two contrasting styles, one ring. The question wasn't just who would win, it was whose truth would prevail. Would it be the unstoppable force of the Mexican Monster, or the immovable object of Cuban boxing excellence? The boxing world loves trash talk, but this was different. In the weeks leading to fight night, every press conference crackled with genuine animosity. Every word exchanged between Benavidez and Morrell felt like the prelude to violence. Then came the moment that set social media ablaze. Benavidez, eyes locked on Morrell, delivered more than a prediction. It was a promise. I'm going to break his face and show him he doesn't belong in the ring with me. The message wasn't just heard, it was felt. But Morrell, he didn't flinch. Instead, he fired back with ice in his veins. He thinks I'm scared? He's going to find out the hard way that I belong in this ring. I've faced fighters like him before. He hasn't faced someone like me. The boxing community split. Veterans of the sport debated. Was Benavidez's swagger justified, or was he walking into a Cuban boxing clinic? Had Morrell's technical mastery finally met its match in raw, unrelenting power? At the weigh-in, you could cut the tension with a knife. No shoving, no security intervention needed. Just two predators sizing each other up, neither willing to break eye contact first. This wasn't manufactured drama for the cameras. This was personal. Fight night approached with one burning question. In a sport where talk is cheap, who would cash the check their mouth had written? The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas became boxing's epicenter that night. As the lights dimmed and the crowd roared, two undefeated warriors prepared to turn predictions into reality. The moment Benavidez and Morrell touched gloves, you could feel the electricity surge through the arena. This wasn't just another fight, this was destiny. Rounds 1 to 3. The Cuban boxing clinic Morrell immediately showed why the Cuban boxing school is revered worldwide. From the opening bell, he moved like mercury, fluid, elusive, impossible to grasp. His jab wasn't just sharp, it was surgical, repeatedly splitting Benavidez's guard with laser precision. The Mexican monster pressed forward with his trademark aggression, but Morrell's footwork turned the ring into his personal canvas, painting beautiful combinations while making Benavidez hit nothing but air. Every attempted assault from Benavidez was met with swift, precise counterpunches that had the crowd gasping. The opening trilogy of rounds was a masterclass in technical boxing, and Morrell was the professor. Rounds 4 to 6. The pressure cooker, the fourth round, marked the beginning of Benavidez's tactical adjustment. Like a predator learning its prey's patterns, he began cutting off the ring with methodical precision. His body attacks weren't just punches, they were investments in future dividends. Each thudding hook to Morrell's midsection carried a message. Technical brilliance meets its match in relentless pressure. The transformation was visible. Morrell's lightning movement began to flicker, his escape routes diminishing with each passing minute. Inside fighting became inevitable, and here, Benavidez's raw power advantage became painfully clear. By round 6 close, the Cuban's masterful movement had given way to survival instincts. Round 7, momentum shifts. The 7th round exploded with fight-altering violence. Benavidez's right hand, a punch thrown with bad intentions, crashed through Morrell's defense like thunder. The impact reverberated through the arena as Morrell staggered backward, his legs betraying him for the first time. The crowd erupted as Benavidez swarmed, unleashing a tornado of punches. Morrell, showing championship heart, clinched and fought through the storm, but the vulnerability had been exposed. Round 9. The championship heart. Just when the narrative seemed set, Morrell reminded everyone why he belonged among boxing's elite. He emerged from his corner in the 9th with renewed purpose, meeting fire with fire. A perfectly timed uppercut rocked Benavidez's head back, sending sweat spraying into the lights. This wasn't just survival anymore, this was defiance personified. Morrell stood his ground, trading power shots with one of boxing's most feared punchers, earning respect with every exchange. Round 11. History written in canvas. Then came the moment that would be replayed for years to come. Benavidez's left hook, thrown with perfect leverage and timing, found its mark. For the first time in his professional career, Morrell tasted canvas. The sight silenced the arena. A collective gasp, followed by the referee's count. Morrell rose, determination etched on his face. But Benavidez's calculated assault proved why they call him the Mexican monster. Each follow-up punch was thrown with surgical precision, maximizing damage while minimizing risk. Final round. Warrior's last stand. The 12th round became an instant classic. Despite the knockdown, despite the accumulated punishment, Morrell refused to break. He fought back with everything left in his arsenal, each punch thrown with the pride of Cuba behind it. Benavidez, knowing victory was within grasp, maintained his relentless pressure until the final bell, seeking the exclamation point to his performance. As both warriors stood center ring awaiting the decision, the T-Mobile Arena rose in unanimous appreciation. They hadn't just witnessed a fight. They'd witnessed the kind of war that defines careers and cements legacies. The judges would have their say, but the real verdict was written in the hearts of every fan who witnessed this epic clash. This was boxing at its finest, where bold predictions meet raw reality, and only the strongest survive. The T-Mobile Arena held its breath. Two warriors, battered but unbowed, stood center ring as the ring announcer prepared to deliver boxing's final verdict. For 12 rounds, they had painted a masterpiece in blood and determination. Now, the judges would have their say. The scorecards echoed through the arena. 115 to 111, 115 to 111, and 118 to 108, all for David Benavidez by unanimous decision. That 11th round knockdown had written its own chapter in the story, cementing Benavidez's dominance. While some rounds sparked debate, the power and pressure of the Mexican monster had ultimately proven too much. The monster's victory roar. Benavidez's celebration wasn't just about joy. It was about vindication. When the microphone found him, the question everyone wanted answered hung in the air. Did he break Morrell's face as promised? His response came with the same confidence that had marked his pre-fight predictions. I told you all what I was going to do. Morrell is tough, but I broke him down just like I said I would. He's never been in a fight like this before, and now he knows what it's like to go to war with me. Even in victory, Benavidez's eyes were already locked on bigger prey, his words aimed at the division's elite. The Cuban's pride remains unbroken in defeat. Morrell showed why champions are cut from different cloth. There were no excuses, only honesty and determination. He showed respect for Benavidez's power and toughness while making his intentions crystal clear. I won't take anything away from him. He's strong. He's relentless. But this isn't over. I want a rematch. And next time, I'll be ready for everything he brings. The admission of Benavidez's overwhelming pressure came with a promise. This story wasn't finished yet. The boxing world weighs, and the fight ignited fierce debates across boxing's landscape. Veterans of the sport praised Benavidez for proving why he's one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. His ability to methodically break down opponents while walking through fire marked him as something special. Yet Morrell's early success hadn't gone unnoticed. Boxing purists pointed to how his Cuban boxing schooling had initially troubled Benavidez, suggesting that with more big fight experience, the Cuban technician might rewrite this story in a rematch. Social media erupted with passionate takes from fans worldwide. While Benavidez's supporters celebrated another demolition job, others argued that Morrell's early boxing clinic deserved more credit on the scorecards. But one consensus emerged through the chaos. Morrell had earned respect, and a rematch wasn't out of the question. As the dust settled on this war, Benavidez had delivered on his promise, adding another impressive scalp to his record. But in the boxing world, every answer breeds new questions. Had this performance finally earned him his shot at undisputed glory? Would Morrell's call for redemption be answered? The super middleweight division's landscape had shifted, but the aftershocks of this battle would be felt for months to come. One chapter had closed, but the story was far from over. The scorecards were in, but boxing's biggest debate was just heating up. Analysts dissected every round with surgical precision, weighing Benavidez's raw dominance against Morrell's technical brilliance. The experts acknowledged Benavidez's pressure as the decisive factor, yet couldn't ignore how Morrell had exposed chinks in the Mexican monster's armor. His early mastery of distance and precise counters had proven that even monsters can be tamed, at least temporarily. The boxing community erupted in heated discussions. One camp stood firmly behind Benavidez, saying he had clearly backed up his words with a masterclass in breaking down an elite boxer. The opposition pointed to Morrell's early success, arguing that his Cuban school of boxing had revealed vulnerabilities in Benavidez's approach. But through the storm of opinions, one truth emerged crystal clear. This was an incredible fight that had elevated both warriors in the eyes of the sport. Victory has propelled Benavidez into an enviable position as the WBC mandatory challenger for the winner of the Artur Beterbiev vs. Dimitri Bivol clash. It's a crossroads that could lead to undisputed glory at light heavyweight, potentially cementing his legacy among boxing's immortals. The challenges ahead are monumental. Beterbiev's devastating power or Bivol's technical wizardry awaits, each presenting a unique puzzle for the Mexican monster to solve. But the echoes of war with Morrell still linger. The whispers of a rematch grow louder with each passing day. Morrell's call for redemption resonates with fans who witnessed his early brilliance and late resilience. The Cuban warrior's conviction that he can solve the Benavidez puzzle with the right adjustments adds another layer of intrigue to the division's future. For Morrell, this setback is merely a comma in his story, not a period. History's pages are filled with champions who transformed defeat into fuel for greatness. His performance against boxing's boogeyman proved he belongs in the elite echelon, and his next move will be watched closely by a sport that loves nothing more than a comeback story. The super middleweight landscape has shifted, but the aftershocks of this war will ripple through boxing's future. For these warriors, the story isn't over. It's merely entering its next thrilling chapter. Benavidez declared he would break Morrell's face. While a knockout remained elusive, his dominance was clear. Yet Morrell's performance proved he was no stepping stone. He was a warrior who made the monster work for every minute of victory. The verdict now rests with you. Did Benavidez deliver on his promise? Or did Morrell exceed expectations by pushing him to the limit? Should these warriors dance again? Or is it time for Benavidez's undisputed dream? For more explosive boxing analysis and behind-the-scenes stories that take you inside the ring, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. This is where real fight fans come to break down the sweet science. See you at the next big fight.